Yeah, Minkah, couple free agents in the secondary, Mike and Cam, could be hitting free agency. What did they mean to the secondary this year?
They both mean a whole lot. They do a lot for us. Mike, he's a nickel, but he has qualities that not a lot of nickels have across the league. He's a physical guy, but he could also cover. He can blitz. He tackles very well. And Cam Sutton, he's a very versatile guy. A lot of times, the last 2 seasons since I've been here, he's been a guy that if somebody goes down, he pretty much fills in the role no matter what position it was. Whether it's been corner, nickel, or safety, he's been kind of that, that guy that patches the wound, and that's extremely versatile, or that's extremely helpful in a league like this where guys go down all the time. So, I love them both to death, and it'd be great if both of them could come back and play with us next season.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Yeah, Minkah, kind of going off that, Cam Hayward said after the game that you guys were about to enter kind of an unprecedented situation for the Steelers organization with the amount of turnover that could happen in free agency. How do you approach that, knowing that you're going to be here next year, but you may have an entirely different looking team? I mean, are you worried about the number of guys that you could lose?
I'm not really worried about the number because it's a business. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that I know I'm going to miss is definitely the relationships and just going out there and playing with those guys because, we put in a lot of effort, in the off season and during the season. And, that's the thing that you will miss the most. But in regards to, worrying about that, I mean, it is what it is. It's part of the job. I've been on 3 different teams and every single team has been, extremely different looking from season to season. So, just part of the game.
Noah Strackbean, Sports Illustrated.
Hey, Minkah, yeah, rolling right along with all the turnover here. How do you or can you even replace losing both Cam Sutton and Mike in the secondary for you guys? Do you have anybody on the roster that you've seen and said, hey, that's an up-and-coming guy as well?
There's guys that can do what they do, but Mike and Cam are very experienced guys. They're in their 4th, 5th, 6th year in the league, and it's hard to replace experience. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, we're going to search for a guy that can do it if they aren't on the roster, but experience is very hard to replace.
Jenna Harner, PXI.
Minkah, now that you guys are a couple days removed from the loss, what are the emotions like among you guys?
They're not. It's very, very down, I guess you could say. I don't think anybody in the building was expecting to, not be still playing around this time of the year. We have very high expectations for this team, simply because we held ourselves to a high standard throughout the whole year. To go out like we did and not finish for the older guys that don't have many years left, or this may have been their last one, is very disappointing. So, myself personally, I try not to get too emotional about it or too low about it because it is a part of the game. But a loss like that is very hard to deal with, and it does sting. So, you're gonna hang low for a little bit, but you still gotta learn from it.
Mike Prizzuta, DVE.
Minkah, a couple of your teammates talked right after the game, T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, about a lack of execution on defense. As you saw it, was it physical execution, just not making tackles, getting beaten coverage, or were there mental errors? Were there guys?
It was almost 100% mental. I don't think there's too many times where we just lost one-on-one coverage and they may be on like 1/3 down, or we lost one-on-one in the gap. I think it was more just whether it be leaving somebody wide open, you know what I'm saying, which we don't normally do, or the times that we do, we lose games for a reason, or whether it be, not getting in your gap or not fitting the run the right way. I don't think any of it was just being out physical, you know what I'm saying. I think maybe we could have done a better job tackling, but when the running back's 10 yards down the field, it's kind of hard to tackle them. But besides that, I think it was just overall execution. I think Cam and TJ are definitely right in saying that.
Brian Batko, Post-Gazette.
Minkah, do you think there was any rust for the defense after resting some guys in that Week 17 game? Or, like, in your perspective, I mean, you played, I think, every snap in that game too. I mean, are you a guy that maybe could have used a game off towards the end of the season like that?
I don't think there's any rust. I don't think there's any rust at all. It was one game. It wasn't like it was a super long turnover. And those guys practiced as well. It wasn't like they weren't practicing, in the 2 weeks prior to the game. For myself, I mean, a couple of days off would have been nice, but it is what it is. I'm never going to complain about going out there and being able to compete and do what I love. So, it was a long season. I had a whole bunch of bumps and bruises going into that game, but I understand my role. I'm a younger guy. I could go out there and play. I was healthy all season, so why would I complain about going out there and have another opportunity to compete?
Chris Adamski, Trib.
Minkah, it's pretty unique. Two starting safeties were in the same draft class, came up together, or didn't come up together, but joined each other within a year there. You and Terrell, you both have your fifth-year option things coming up. I'm sure you don't have to worry about that really too much, but is that something you think about that, you both probably would have to sign extensions at the same time? Do you see yourselves being together for a long time with the Steelers? Do you think you fit together pretty well as long-term, teammates in the backfield there?
Yeah, I think so. I think we play really well together. I think we both complement each other very well. Terrell is more down closer to the box. I'm more, further away from the box, controlling the post and the half and stuff like that. He's a good dude off the field. I love him as a teammate, as a brother. And, hopefully, if we could, continue to play together, we could make that happen.
Jim Colony, 93.7.
Yeah, Minkah, I don't know if you've met with Mike yet for an exit interview, but even if you have, even if you hadn't, when he asks you what your perspective is and what your feedback is on what happened toward the end of the season, what are you going to tell him?
Like the last couple games, or?
Yeah, the last 5 or 6 games when you guys finished 1-5.
I would say I'm always going to speak on the defense. I think we lacked execution overall. I think we lacked execution in the pass game and the run game. Kind of got away from what we're used to doing, and that's pretty much just being simple and executing the game plan. And honestly, that's it for real. I think it was very simple. The reasons why we lost football games. It wasn't like we were getting outplayed or outsmarted or out hustled. It was just lack of execution on our part as players. And I think there's a lot of things that I could have done differently, could have said differently to make sure that didn't happen. But that would be something that I'll mention if you ask me.
All right, I'm going to get through these last 3 follow-ups. It's going to be Noah, Brooke, and Mike. So let's start with Noah Strackbean.
Minkah, you've been here for about 2 years now. What are your thoughts on Keith Butler, and how much faith do you have in him leading the defense, now that you have experience with him?
I think Coach Butts is a great coach. He has a lot of experience in the system. He's been here for a long time. Coach T puts a lot of trust in him, a lot of faith in him. We have a great defense, so I have the utmost faith in his game plan and his overall execution of calling the plays and getting them to it.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Yeah, Minkah, when we talked with Mike Tomlin after the game, he said that you guys were a group that died on the vine, made it sound like maybe, with the 11-0 start, things were great and then kind of wilted. Was there a point for you when you felt like there was a turning point in the season, maybe emotionally, or a point when you felt like the execution stopped or there was just a disruption? Is there anything that you can point to timeline-wise where that started to occur?
What was that first game that we lost? Was it Washington, I believe? That game, yeah.
Mike Pizzuta, DVE, last question.
Yeah, just to follow up the lack of execution, Minkah, your defense performed at a high level almost all year. What do you attribute, coming up with 100% mental game in the biggest game of the year too, and how concerning is that?
I mean, it was a combination of different things. Even in the games before that we had lost, we had people down, people that were hurt, people that really didn't have a lot of experience that were out there, which attributes to just a boil over effect. I can't really explain to you why exactly it all happened or what we could stop from making it happen. But we just got to go out there next year, make sure that execution, not just on the front end, but on the back end of the season, is going to be a emphasis for sure.